You're about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So the well has run dry. The well has run dry. This is what is on the USDA Food and Nutrition Service website, as 42 million people are about to face their SNAP benefits not being continued as a result of this ridiculous shutdown, which has been, the continuing resolution has been approved time and time again, bipartisanly. Republicans and Democrats have signed it before. It just now Democrats are saying, we're going to hold off. This is leverage. And it's frightening. So when you go to the website, this is what it says at the top of the website. Beautiful website. The U.S. Food and Nutrition Service talks about, the nutrition programs and how to sign on and how to report fraud, etc. But at the top, in a big maroon sort of banner, it says, ! To alert you, Senate Democrats have now voted 12 times to not fund the food stamp program, also known as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Bottom line, they say, the well has run dry. At this time, they say there will be no benefit November 1st. We are approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats. They can continue to hold out for health care or illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies, and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition assistance. They are right to alert people that November 1st funds are running dry, and that it's the Democrats that are not, allowing their other Democrats to vote for this. There's this cancel culture and coercion and big bullying going on, whereas 3 Senate Democrats are like, to heck with this. We're going to, John Fetterman, Catherine Cortez Masto, and I apologize for not remembering the third one at the top of my head. But that is an interesting comment that they have on their official site. They can continue to hold out for health care for illegal aliens, gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government. I get that politics have gotten so bad and people are believing such misinformation out there that you only have a few moments to be able to, get your message across. And so, you would have never seen, in the 80s or in the 60s, that sort of talk, coming out from the government. But it's all now about sound bites. It's all about, getting to the crux of it in as few words as possible. And if that's what is holding this up, it's sad. I mean, Europe has now banned, England has now said, no, we're not going to be doing gender transitioning on minors. If they're already enrolled in a clinical study, we'll allow it. If they're 17 and in the process of becoming an adult soon, but no, we're not doing this anymore on kids. And is this really what the Democrats are holding up the supplemental nutrition program and all the other government spending? I mean, I think the Republicans were smart to say, look, this is the exact same bill that they voted on before. These are the optics. Here it is. We could show you. And here's the bill. There's nothing. You see, Democrats can say, oh, Republicans are trying to do this or trying to do this. No, instead, the messaging that the Democrats are doing is they are hurting our health care. How are Republicans hurting your health care when you're not signing a continuing resolution that allows supplemental nutrition? And by the way, this is another issue I have. 42 million, an eighth of the United States needs government help to eat. I mean, we're supposed to be one of the richest, most vibrant countries on the planet. And we have 42 million Americans that need SNAP benefits. That's something that we need to address. Now, I get it. Many people qualify, so might as well. They're still able to work. They're still able to eat. This is to supplement. That's why it better be for nutrition. None of this soda pop or candy or junk food. That's why I really like WIC, where you can actually get the food. You could get the fish. You could get the dairy. You could get the whole grains. That's the way I really think we should be, addressing the food, the nutrition issue, to make sure that they're getting nutrition. None of this, I could get some Lucky Charms, now with my SNAP benefits. But I don't, and I don't think the average person wants to see individuals not be able to continue to feed their families. And this is what we're now, we're now vulnerable to. And so November 1st, who's going to budge first? Everybody's like, well, who's going to budge? Well, it's not really a budge on the Republican side because it's the same CR. I mean, for Republicans to say, okay, we are now going to stop everything and talk about Obamacare, which was a mess the Democrats made to begin with. And we are now going to figure out how to deal with the subsidy crisis of Obama. That's not a CR issue. And I don't want to say Republicans should hold out or Democrats should hold out. Just sign the bill. And all we need are 5 more Democrats to do that. And the longer this goes, the harder it is for them to save face. That's why I told you, U.S. constituents and voters have to say, look, we got your back. We still love you. We're fans. Just sign the gosh darn CR like you've done before, and let's get our benefits back. I understand what you're doing. I see you're trying to help, with the whole Obamacare issue, which was a cluster and a 7th, and we probably need Trump care at this point, if it could be designed much better than ACA. But nobody's going to want to budge, because the longer this goes, then it looks like they caved and they're weak. So this is ridiculous, and it's going to take the voters to say, come on, man. 5 more Democrats vote for the stupid CR. 1-877-DOC-Daliah.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years, stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's Aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media.
Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So, every time this time of year, people are looking at what they have to pay for their health insurance. And they ask themselves, or they ask me, should I go without? My health insurance is going to be so damn expensive, especially for those that don't qualify for subsidies on Obamacare, that am I going to be spending less if I don't get health insurance? That's scary. As much as I want to say, oh, you'll spend less, who knows? You get into a car accident, God forbid, and you don't have med pay on your car insurance. You get diagnosed with a tumor or appendicitis or gallbladder attack or perforated ulcer or brain aneurysm. Who knows what your cost could be? And the reason why the insurance companies exist is they promise to cover you, but you got to buy it when you're healthy. And they are banking on you not getting unhealthy, you staying healthy, and you just paying premiums. And you are going, well, I don't want to get sick, but I also don't want to keep paying. So I was given a quote, and our health insurance now, luckily the deductible is down to $2,500. I remember when that used to be a high deductible plan in the early 2000s. So from a $10,000 or $12,000 deductible, we are able to get our deductible down to $2,500 for a family with 3, because one of my sons is still under 26, so can still be on our health insurance. Although it would help if, he wasn't. We would be able to get our insurance down to $2,300 a month if we want to make this is a PPO, not an HMO, because I like the PPOs because I travel a lot and I need to be able to, see a doctor out of state. If we wanted to lower the deductible for $2,500 even down more, we're looking at $2,800 a month. So on average, $2,500 a month, or roughly $30,000 a year for our health insurance. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for health insurance. So when people ask, well, wait a second here, am I really going to have $30,000 in medical bills for a family of 3? What should I do? Well, if you're healthy, thank God, and that's tricky. And I don't want to say to not. I always say to get insurance because you just never know. And the average person that has something major happen to them, we're always shocked. And they always said I was healthy until now. So I always want you protected. But for those people that say, look, I don't have 30 grand. Okay, I can't be insuring myself for 30 grand. This is not going to happen. Well, if you are going to choose the cash rate, these are the things you have to think about. Okay, number one is you can get doctors and hospitals to work with you. It was a lot easier before Obamacare when you knew the doctor and it was a doctor-run clinic. Now, if you notice, you pay your bills to someplace in Texas or Virginia or New York. It's some remote billing company, and when they answer the phone, they go, account number, please. Yeah, and you don't even sometimes get a person. So being able to negotiate your rates down or your balance down is getting harder. But it is possible. A lot of hospitals, they have people you could talk to and say, look, can I do a payment plan? And oftentimes they will, in order for you to pay up front, lower your rate, lower what you're paying. And so there is room to negotiate for cash. But to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies, they're very expensive. Chemotherapy, don't count on that. Now, some drugs you can get coupons from the pharmaceutical companies, and you can get waivers and discounts, but they do that because you're going to eventually pay for the drug. And if you're trying to, live on the drug for free, understand that might not happen. So, yeah, you might be able to get a sample here or there, but, yeah. Another thing that you need to also be aware of, if you told me, look, Dr. Daliah, that $30,000 I'm going to save, and I'm going to put in a bank account, and I'm going to let it grow interest, or I'll put it in a mutual fund. So if, God forbid, I need medical care, that $30,000 will be there. Now, how many of you would really do that? No, the average person doesn't have that extra $30,000 to just sit and you used to. You used to have to put money away for your medical expenses. But the average person doesn't. Also, let's say, God forbid, you come down with a really bad pneumonia or respiratory distress in December. So let's say it's 2 months, even though we're talking about our January, so maybe to make it more realistic, this is for your January premiums. Let's say you don't pay. What if you, at the end of January, go into respiratory distress? Did you already save up that 30 grand, or did you just save up that 2,500? And did you actually save it? Especially since you're paying off your credit card from Christmas. So, the thing I worry about is when I see patients buy these cheaper plans or these, Medishares. And Medishare's cool, but they tell me it's a lot out of pocket to go to the ER or urgent care. I'm like, well, the money you saved each month not buying Obamacare or traditional health insurance, is that in the bank? Did you put that aside and kept squirreling that away so you could use it? The average person says no. So, you need to have some, pretty good discipline where that money has to be put away. If you end up not needing it for medical care, then, later, God willing, you get insurance or you get a job that pays for your medical insurance, then great. Then you can go ahead and use it, and now you have retirement. But the problem is with the way things are with cost of living, et cetera, there is no way to bank on you having that money in the bank. And so, I've had patients go, Doc, this is my medical history. What do you think? You think I'm going to live past a year? Do you think I'm going to need to be hospitalized this year? I need to make a decision. And these are valid questions. I wouldn't laugh. I don't blame them. Who knows your health better than your doctor? Now, again, I haven't been their doctor for, years. I haven't seen them. I'm not taking care of them on a regular basis. So if you've been using telemedicine and not necessarily going in and getting physicals and getting your colonoscopies and your mammograms and your, skin biopsies, who knows? And so not to, be pessimistic, but the things you need to think about going into this January is, one, are you going to get a bad respiratory infection? We have COVID, we have flu. Are you going to have trouble breathing? Well, how's your heart? What's your family history like? Do you have cardiac risk factors? Do you have high blood pressure? Do you have diabetes? Do you have high cholesterol? Have you had a heart issue before? Is there a family history of heart disease? Are you a male over 45, female over 55? Are you of short stature? Are you stressed? Do you smoke? Heavy alcohol, poor exercise? If you have any of those cardiac risk factors, there could be a chance that you have a cardiac issue. Do you think you're going to have a heart racing episode because of your caffeine? Are you going to have blood in your stool where that needs to be checked out to make sure you don't have an ulcer? Are you prone to getting stomach bugs where you're vomiting and having diarrhea? Have you had all your moles checked to make sure one isn't melanoma? How's your eyesight? Are you starting to notice that your eyes aren't like they used to? Okay, what sort of lifestyle do you have? Are you going to get poked in the eye? Are you more likely to, fall off a mountain that you're scaling? Are you, what are some of the things you do? Are you prone to falls? If you are prone to falls, that's a problem. Now, you could say, no, Dr. Daliah, I got great balance. I'm good. Well, I hope so. That's good. But do you have a new adopted dog? We just adopted a dog. And that dog is about 1 year old. And she knows how to go pee-pee outside, but it's a little nippy and cold. So she prefers to do pee-pee inside the house. And I turn a corner in the kitchen, or I turn a corner in the bathroom, and there is a nice pee-pee puddle. I could fall, break my neck, break a hip. Do you have pets? Those are things to think about. Pets can cause a lot of medical issues for you. Do you have arthritis, and pretty bad arthritis in your hips and knees and shoulders, where you might actually need a replacement soon? These are things you got to think about. And it sucks that health insurance is so expensive, and it sucks even more that going to the doctor and getting medical things done is that expensive. I'm with you. You know, I miss the days where it was like, what, $25, $50? You could pay cash. But, you know, these are things you need to think about before you make a decision of not having insurance and going cash. 1-877-DOC-DOLLAR, number way.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret.
Powered by science.
You're back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DOLLAR, 1-877-DOCDALI. So Trump running for a third term is back in the news. And, you know, it's interesting. Trump knows how to mess with the media. Trump's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot to get done. And so if the media, rather than, you know, I don't know, mad about the ICE removing illegal immigrants and tariffs and all that, spend a few news cycles talking about how he may want to run for a third term, that gives him time to get other stuff done. And so he played around with the media today because people keep asking him, running for a third term. And I guess a reporter asked him about former chief strategist Steve Bannon's claim that a secret plan may negate the 22nd Amendment term limit. And so a reporter said, would you, and Trump's 79 years old, run? He said, I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. This is while he was aboard Air Force One en route to Tokyo. And according to Real Clear Politics and New York Post, his approval rating is at 45.1%. Flirting with this candidacy is something that I think he's doing to mess with the reporters. But I do believe he feels like, wow, if he got this much done in 9 months, you know, imagine if he has another term. And I got to tell you, most Republicans I know would be like, oh my gosh, if we just got Trump for one more term. I mean, you know, people don't want him to go. And a big thing that I'm even hearing from reporters is, well, what are you going to do to ensure that it doesn't get reversed again? You know, when you are, when you're out of office, what do you do to make sure these things last? And so, well, I am sure that he wishes he could run. Also, he's 79. He would be 83. But this guy's got energy. But I guess somebody asked, well, he could be Vance's vice president. You could have a Trump-Vance ticket. We could save on a lot of the posters, but just switch Vance and Trump. Well, the 22nd Amendment has the 2-term limit on presidency written as such. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. So meaning, like when FDR passed and Truman took over, or Lyndon B. Johnson and JFK taking over, although that happened in JFK's third year of, end of his third year, going into the 64 election. So if you, let's say, inherit the presidency, with 3 more years, you can't run a second time. But if you inherit it under the 2 years, you could technically hold. A trivia question that a lot of people get asked is, how long can somebody technically be president for? And the answer is 10 years. If they inherit it or succeed somebody, for some reason or another, and then they end up being able to have 2 elections. So they say this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislators of 3/4 of several states within 7 years from the date of submission of the states by this Congress. So that means this was the Section 1 and Section 2. It's pretty straightforward. He would not be able to technically be elected again. However, there are 2 years wiggle room. If somebody gets elected, leaves in under 2 years, gives it to him. Now, it has not been tested. What if you are vice president? Now, okay, this is moot because he says he's not going to be running as J.D. Vance's vice president. It's not going to happen. But in theory, what would happen if he is J.D. Vance's vice president? And then J.D. Vance says, you know what? It's been a good week. I'm out. Trump take over. Would he only get to take over for 2 years? Or would he not be allowed to take over? The Secretary of State, the Speaker of the House, would have to take over. I don't really know much. I'm not a constitutional expert by any means. But would somebody else have to take over? And then when his final 2 years could start, he takes over. Not sure. But I do not believe he is going to run again. I think with his age, I think if he could solidify what he wants to solidify. But again, he is having a fantastic he's having a fantastic, first part of the second term. Who knows what's going to happen after the midterms? If he loses control of the House and the Senate and he can't get anything done, or some of his things get stalled or reversed, or that that might change things. Because the one thing I think we are all pretty aware of is he was not happy that all the work he did first term got negated once Biden came into office. It happens, but there are some things that should have still stuck. The wall being built, etc., and no. So, yeah, I think it's kind of messing with people. But, Trump being the most popular Republican president in a long time. We haven't seen anything, since Reagan in terms of popularity like that. And a big part of it is, one is he's not a politician. Number 2 is he's getting stuff done. Now, you guys probably remember more of the Reagan presidency than I do. And I remember liking Reagan, and I remember, thinking this guy is a badass. Wow, probably one of the best presidents we've ever had. But again, I was young, so I really didn't understand a lot of politics. But I don't, did he work on the weekends like this? Did he try to get as much done? I know people have been faulting Trump with his executive actions, etc. But I mean, he protected women's sports. I mean, he's making changes to our pharmaceutical. I mean, it's about flipping time that somebody tells Big Pharma, look, you're not going to charge us more than England or Canada or Mexico. We're going to get the best rate possible. We're done with being screwed over. NATO, you're not going to get the most money from us. Hamas, you're going to give the hostages back. This is huge. Now, with the Iranian hostage crisis, they didn't even want to mess with Ronald Reagan. And they let those hostages go the day he came into office. And that was flipping impressive. And, and that's one of the reasons why, we have looked at Reagan as being one of the best presidents, because it's, other countries feared him and respected him. And, you're not going to mess with us. That is the attitude we want. Don't mess with us. Strength through peace, or peace through strength. But, I think right now it's too early for people to be, a lot of people are kind of panicking, and they're already, I've done this where, I'm worried that I'm turning 30, or I'm turning 40, or I'm turning 50. And I sit there and think about it so much that I don't even enjoy the rest of my 30s, or my 20s, or my 40s. And I'm thinking to myself, but I'm going to be 50 one day, or I'm going to be 50 soon, or I'm going to be, just enjoy whatever, now. If you don't like his presidency, then you could have wishful thinking that, he leaves, in 3-4 years. But I do not believe he is going to try to remain in office. 1-877 Doc Daliah overway. Hey guys, it's Dr. Daliah. Fantasy football season is coming, but sadly, too many of you are taking the bench while the country takes part in one of the most exciting and lucrative industries out there. Don't know how to play? Well, huddle up and listen. Paul Kalikas and I have written a fantasy football pocket guide for beginners. This book walks you through the basics and shows you how simple and lucrative joining or creating a fantasy football team can be. Read our fantasy football pocket guide for beginners found on Amazon, or follow the links on X and Facebook. That's Fantasy Football Pocket Guides for Beginners. Don't be left out.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit, and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So you want to hear something cheap and easy to help cut your dementia risk? And I'm not going to make you do crossword puzzles, nothing like that. What I want you to do is pull up on your playlist some of your favorite songs to boogie to, right? I want to boogie. And listen to your music. Another study has shown that listening to music can, after age 70, can cut dementia risk by nearly 40%. Now, that is huge. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to get dementia. If you pull up Kool in the Gang, But still, this is something you could do. Older adults, according to this study, published in neurosciencenews.com, older adults who regularly listen or play music may significantly lower their risk of dementia, according to a study of 10,800 people who were over 70. Those who always listen to music showed a 39% lower risk of developing dementia and better memory performance, while those who played instruments, like still played piano, guitar, flutophone, 35% lower risk. If you combine both activities, played your guitar while listening to MTV, right, you would have a greater protective effect. Researchers suggest that engaging with music could be an accessible, enjoyable strategy to help maintain brain health in later life. I love music. Now, I'm not 70, but when I drive, I always have to have music on in the car. You know, I like singing. I like dancing when nobody's looking because I don't dance really well, and love karaoke. And I think music is a fantastic way to do this. They say always listen to music, lowered your dementia risk by 39%, playing instruments 35%. Music engagement was linked to overall cognitive and episodic memory scores, and findings support music as a simple lifestyle-based intervention. The, the memories, I think, are a big part of it. The study was published in the International Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry. And so when I hear a song from the 80s, I don't need to memorize when a song came out, because I remember when I hear a song, the dance, the Sadie Hawkins, the Homecoming, and I'm like, okay, wait, that must have been 1983. That must have been 1984 when I was in high school. So that had to have been 87, 88. And so these songs know how to capture your memory and bring things back. Now, the problem is if you have bad memories of childhood, you don't like listening to the songs. There's some songs I just can't listen to. And I just, it just brings me back to, my early childhood, and I just, not a lot of good memories. And so, you would think this would be a slam dunk. Everybody would do that, but there's a lot of people who don't like listening to music. So one of my favorite genres are the 50s. And in the 80s, I discovered the 50s because of Back to the Future. So I watched the Back to the Future movie, and I go, damn, I really like the 50s. And then Earth Angel, and I started looking up the songs, and I was like, wait a second, Little Richard? Whoa, wait a second. And I just started falling in love with music from the 50s, Elvis. And so, I would go to my mom, I'm like, do you remember the song? Do you remember the song? And she'd be like, I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, this is a great song from your generation. Well, it's because she had bad memories as a child. And I noticed my mom doesn't listen to a lot of music. That was one thing I thought I would actually bond with her on, because I really liked the 50s, and I asked her a lot about that. She wouldn't talk about that. And part of the reason why is her brother was diagnosed with leukemia and died 2 weeks after he was, his 13th, he was diagnosed. He was only 13. She didn't get along with her parents. It was a really rough childhood. And so we didn't get to talk a lot about the 50s or music and all that. And so I think, a lot of people don't necessarily, take advantage of what they can, especially for something like this, which I really do believe can help. Now, it doesn't mean you have to listen to the music you grew up with. I don't listen to that much 80s music. I listen to a lot of 90s music. Also, I mean, I love the 80s music. It is one of my favorite decades of music. A lot of good 80s songs that I love, metal bands and things like that. But, and Def Leppard, one of my favorite bands. But I don't listen to that all the time. I got to be able to sing along to a lot of songs. And so I listen to a variety of music, even modern day, absolutely modern day. And so also classical music you can listen to. But you really are, it's the problem with the brain is if you don't use it, you lose it. And I understand some of our brains just can't handle things like they used to. If you asked me to study like I did and memorize facts like I did in high school, college, and medical school, I couldn't do it. My brain just doesn't seem to have that capacity. I can learn things new. I can study tests, etc. But I'm like, you know what? If I don't have to learn biochem again, I'm not going to. But if you don't use it, you lose it. Now, another thing also that seems to help cut dementia risk is your shingles vaccine. Not only does your shingles vaccine help prevent shingles, but researchers at Case Western Reserve University have also found that it could reduce your risk of developing vascular dementia. Now, is it because the shot itself does that, or is it because you don't get shingles? And when you don't get shingles, you don't get the inflammation and the stress that could put you at risk for dementia. They say the vaccine has been associated with a significant decreased risk of cardiovascular events and death in people 50 and older. Experts presented the findings this week at the Georgia World Congress Center in Atlanta, the site of ID Week 2025, leading infectious disease group. They looked at health records from 174,000 adults in the U.S. They followed participants who received the vaccination over a span of 3 months up to 7 years. Participants who received the shingles vaccine had about half the risk of developing vascular dementia. They also had a 25% lower risk of getting a heart attack or stroke, 27% lower risk of blood clots, 21% lower risk of death. So they believe that the shingles vaccine helps lower those risks. Okay, so is it because you don't get shingles? Shingles, as you know, is chickenpox that quiesces or decides to lay dormant after your chickenpox event as a child or young adult, hopefully as a child, because young adults have severe chickenpox. And then it comes out as an adult when you're stressed or some other factor can cause shingles to come out. It's a very painful blistering rash. If you get it near the eye, it could cause blindness. If you get it near the ear, it could cause hearing loss. If you get it across the chest, it could interfere with your breathing, and it could cause lifelong pain in some people. For other people, they get over the rash, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. But for other individuals, it could be lifelong post-herpetic neuralgia, which is just horrible. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So when you see a study like this, does it mean that that vaccine has some magical serum that'll help protect your heart, help protect you from stroke, or is it that you are less prone to getting shingles, so you end up doing better? Also, could it be that those who are getting the shingles vaccine are also more health conscious? If somebody's going to go in to get the shingles vaccine, are they also more likely to go and get their flu shot so that they don't get flu? And flu could put you at risk for dementia and heart attack and stroke. So, with these studies, there are a lot of questions that end up coming up. But we see this time and time again, where people who vaccinate may do better overall in life. And I know people think, well, that's just, the pharmaceutical companies, but there's something to that, because I'm sorry, you go through shingles, that does a number on your body. 1-877-Doc-Daliah, don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.